the line. Gentlemen, how are you feeling? I feel very confident in this team. If the team that showed up against Tennessee, I believe they can beat anybody. How are you feeling, Jay?
So I'll tell you this right now. We all know these are the best two teams in the country playing. I don't think anyone would argue that. We all know what's on the line. Okay, whoever leaves the Rose Bowl as the victor is probably going to have the inside track to being a national champion.
Absolutely.
I feel very, very confident in this Ohio State football team because they found their identity, folks. They found who they are. They found that it was not about running to set up the pass. It's about passing to set up the run.
Yep.
And when they do that and they start fast, it changes the entire dynamic of a football game.
So the last time Ohio State beat Oregon was in the 2015 National Championship game in Dallas, where Zeke ran it up. In the 10-year anniversary of the national championship season, do you guys think the Bucs have what it takes to beat Oregon today, Obi?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the onus really is on Oregon, to be honest with you. Can they slay the giant twice?
Hard to do.
You kind of look and see, after a game, do they feel they were superior, meaning Oregon, over the giant, meaning Ohio State, or are they surprised? I feel like Oregon was more surprised that they beat Ohio State than felt superior than Ohio State. And I think in beating the giant, they created a monster.
Oh, I like that.
I believe Ohio State is going to come back strong. I think they're making some adjustments, most especially on the defensive side. There's a little more confidence on the offensive side. I don't think that this is going to be a close game. I think eventually Ohio State is going to run away with
I was going to say it could be a track meet, and Ohio State can run away with it. And you said that against Tennessee as well. So I'm taking that to heart, Obi. Ben, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great for this one, guys. You think about it in life, a lot of times you don't get second chances, right? Especially this modern playoff era right now with Oregon joining the Big Ten Conference. Here we are this many weeks later. It's Dan Lanning, it's Ryan Day. Remember, this was a 1-point loss on the road, 1 second at the very end of the game. We're at I guess you call it a neutral site, still on the West Coast, but the way that this team is playing, if we're a V8 engine, man, we are humming on all 8 cylinders coming off of that Tennessee game. Offense, defense, special teams. Get the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Get the playmakers the ball in space. I like us tonight.
Come on, Ben. We have V12. You know that, man.
That's right.
This is a Ferrari.
V12 firing on all cylinders right now. First, the Buckeyes are looking for some rosy redemption against the Ducks in a bowl game that traditionally features a Pac-12 and a Big Ten team. We bring in our Dave Holmes live in the Rose Bowl Stadium. And Dave, with Oregon jumping from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, it almost feels like that traditional Rose Bowl still.
It really does. So much tradition, history, pageantry. Guys, it's a dirty job, but someone had to do it. I'm here in sunny California, Pasadena, the granddaddy of them all. This is my 3rd Rose Bowl. There's nothing like it. I'm going to get out of the way here so we can get some shots. The Ohio State Buckeyes defensive line warming up here in the end zone closest to us. It's a beautiful venue. If you've never been to the Rose Bowl, there is truly nothing like it. With all due respect to the Cotton, the Peach, the Sugar, the Fiesta, this one stands above the rest. And as we pan up to the San Gabriel Mountains, the sun will set over these mountains late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter. A pink sky as we see scarlet and green on the field. I asked Ryan Day about the pageantry. What is the Rose Bowl? Here's what he had to say.
First off, has an unbelievable tradition, not just in general, but for Ohio State. And, the statue of Archie, the fact that, we're playing a traditional, Ohio State, Oregon, Big Ten, Pac-12 matchup, I think is significant. Anybody who's ever been to the Rose Bowl knows it's one of the best environments there is in college football. And for me, being, my 3rd opportunity to coach in the Rose Bowl, I know how special it is, and I know these guys do as well. We've talked about it before.
I've had a chance to spend some time around the players this week, and I will say this. I think they're looser than they were going into the Tennessee game, and rightfully so, coming off that loss to Michigan. Buckeyes feel like they have a quiet confidence about them today, and maybe they should, guys, because it's hard to beat the Buckeyes twice in the same season. The last team to do it, Wittenberg, back in 1894. You heard me right.
Oh, Dave, coming in with the stats. My goodness, Wittenberg, how about that? And Dave, enjoy some sun for us while you're out there. Thank you so much. The Rose Bowl is one of the bowl games that has stood the test of time. It remains the granddaddy of them all, maintaining its reputation as a game players dream of playing in. That includes Ohio State wide receiver and Washington native Emeka Buka, who is enjoying his 2nd trip to Pasadena as a Buckeye.
We're super excited. I think that, I played in the Rose Bowl my freshman year. It's an amazing venue. It's so beautiful. They do a great job hosting for the players, the coaches, the families. So it really doesn't get much better than this. And having a chance to, redeem ourselves from what happened earlier in the season is something we don't take lightly. So we're very thankful.
Even with the expanded college football playoff, the Rose Bowl has retained most of its tradition, remaining a part of the New Year's Six. But with it being a quarterfinal game, the teams have a shorter trip to the West Coast. And sadly, they didn't have time for the Disneyland trip and the Lowry's Beef Bowl, two traditions dating back to the 1950s. Still, the players, of course, there are enjoying themselves. Ohio State has won 4 straight Rose Bowls, including the 2010 victory over Oregon when Chip Kelly was the head coach. Bucks won 26-17, and our Ben Buchanan played that game. Ben, what were your memories from that Rose Bowl?
That was a special one, guys. It was my second year as a Buckeye. I remember coming out of the tunnel there, and you heard Ryan Day say it in some of his pressers. The grass is just a little greener. It seems like the sky's a little bluer. The sun's a little more yellow. And, man, what an amazing game that was. That was versus the Chip Kelly Oregon Ducks. You can see we won that football game. That's the ring I actually wear most here on The Football Fever. It was our 2010 Big Ten championship. Rose Bowl championship ring right there. That was Jim Tressel's Ohio State Buckeyes. I think we were 12-2 that year, but won the Big Ten championship. That was Terrell Pryor's coming out party. You'll see him going to, who is that? Maybe DeVere Posey or Dane Sanzenbacher. There were so many great receivers during that era as well. But Jeremiah Masoli, man, he was a tough quarterback that played for Oregon at that time. But we edged him out 26-17, and want to see these guys win some hardware today, guys. Right? You have an opportunity to win the Rose Bowl game. There's pageantry. There's a lot of tradition that goes with that. Obviously, we know there's the Big Ten to Pac-12 connection. Now we know we live in the era where Oregon is a Big Ten football team, right? So it is what it is. But, man, there's a revenge factor to this game. There's the beauty. There's the pageantry, the parade of roses. I'm sad the guys didn't get the Lowry's Beef Bowl. That was one of my favorites. All you can eat prime rib.
Not a bad deal.
Jay, it's pretty nice, man.
Okay.
I'll tell you. I can't compete with the big dogs, but I did the best I could at that time. So it's a great memory, guys. Awesome memory.
That or Disneyland.
Man.
The Lowry's.
I'm going to Beef Bowl.
Hell yeah, the Beef Bowl.
So good.
All you can eat? Come on.
Jay's over here jealous. He's like, come on, why
Come on, this ain't even close.
the Rose Bowl? Well, hopefully the Buckeyes will be able to join our Ben Buchanan with earning some of that bling that he likes to show off here on The Football Fever. But time now for the Atlas Butler offensive checkup. Ohio State is coming off of its best game of the year. The offense racked up 473 total yards on the heel of Will Howard's best performance as a Buckeye. OSU looks to build off of that momentum, forcing the Ducks to prepare for a different version of the Bucks they last saw in October.
Preparation is always important, and obviously that, we've played these guys, so we know them a little bit. But, obviously you have to take into account that they might not do what they did last game. They might have a whole different game plan. So just continue to watch the film, prepare for everything that you might see.
When you beat a team, there's definitely a psychological aspect, knowing that, they've obviously already lost when we've already won. And we obviously covered that a little today in the team meeting. But, I'm excited for this game, and, nothing changes. We're just going to go out and do what we do.
All right, Jay Rich, it's time to give quarterback Will Howard his roses coming off of that performance against Tennessee, completing 83% of his passes for 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm not counting the interception because it was a throw that he was supposed to make, but what did you like from Will Howard's performance against Tennessee that gives you confidence to lead him to a victory today against Oregon?
It was the start, Kellyanne. I think it was the way Ryan Day and Chip Kelly schemed up this game and decided to have an identity offensively. I think they put away this old idiom of you've got to run the ball to set up the pass. They said, no, we're going to be who we are. We have the best skill position players in the entire nation. Why on earth aren't we going to feature them for 4 quarters? And it all started with that opening drive. Being able to drive right down the field and score the football really got Will's confidence going. And I've told Obi this. I think Will can be a little bit of a front runner, and people think that's a negative thing. It is not. It means when things are going well, he heats up even more. When he gets confident, before you know it, it's an avalanche. And when you score 21 points in the opening quarter of a football game, that puts so much pressure on the opposing team's defense, head coach, but most importantly, the opposing team's offense. Tennessee was not built to come from behind in a 21-point deficit. That's not how they're designed. And I think that drove them into a game plan that was not something that they were comfortable with, and they got obliterated in that game. And it all starts with Will Howard in those first 10 plays, maybe 12 plays. I don't think he had an incompletion almost in the entire first quarter. And that's because of scheme, but that's also because of Will getting confident with each throw. When he does that, man, this kid is dangerous. I think I told everybody I did not have Will Howard, and I know a lot of draft experts didn't have him on many big boards, right? In the first quarter of that game, I went, that's an NFL quarterback.
Stock rose, that's for sure.
It was night and day, guys.
Yep.
After that game, too, I totally agree with you. I'm like, he'd be great on an NFL team in any system. And to your point, it'll be important for the Buckeyes to get off to a fast start today. But, Obi, we saw the Buckeyes air it out against the Vols. 4 of their 5 plays in their opening drive against Tennessee were passes, including one of the 2 touchdown passes to the freshman phenom, Jeremiah Smith, who stated he's always open. Obi, how important is it to feed number 4 today?
Well, you know what? It's been important to feed him all season.
Yeah.
But I think there was a come-to-Jesus moment when he went to Coach Hartline and said, hey, listen, give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
Press me more. Challenge me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Coach Hartline started to challenge him in practice and kind of ask him, like, hey, what did he do? You know, he put more pressure on me in various situations. And then it showed in the Tennessee game. And those are the type of things that, sometimes when you look back, just to show the maturity of Jeremiah Smith, those are the type of things that you look back over your college career and you say, man, I wish I would have told my coach this, or I wish I would have mentioned this to my coach, or what have you. It votes for the confidence that he has in himself, but it also votes to the relationship that he has with his coach to say, challenge me. Yes, they have to get the ball to Jeremiah Smith. We look back at the Michigan game, he was bracketed. Mecca Abuka was bracketed. So he was essentially, to some of those that may not understand, it was basically they double teamed him most of the game, right? But Ohio State is talented enough that if one receiver is bracketed, you go to the other receiver. Today, Ohio State must make them pay. Oregon pay. If they do bracket them, they must make them pay. They have the talent to do that, and it starts with number 4.
Yep, to your point, they have an embarrassment of riches at that wide receiver position. And as Emeka mentioned in the press conference, he believes that all 3 of those guys, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and himself, are number 1 receivers. So that's good for Ohio State. But hey, looking at number 4, even if he does have a man hanging on him, is either a PI or he makes a play. The last time Smith played the Ducks, he ended with 9 catches for 100 yards and a score. Our Dave Holmes spoke with Smith ahead of his first appearance in the Rose Bowl and this highly anticipated rematch.
Thanks a lot. Here with the best wide receiver and freshman in the country, Jeremiah Smith. It was against Tennessee that it looked like they unleashed you. I mean, really made a focal point of the offense. Was there a change in game plan going into that we got to get 4 of the ball?
I mean, it's really not just get 4 of the ball. I mean, just get all the receivers the ball, I should say. I mean, the game plan, just get the ball on the perimeter and, just get the ball in our hands, we go make a play.
So looking at this game right now, a chance at a rematch there. They got you by 1. Little chip on your shoulder. You guys want to get him the second time around?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We definitely got that chip on our shoulder after what happened when we went out there to Eugene. We're just praying for a different outcome. Actually, not praying. It's actually going to be a different outcome, I should say, because it's a whole different football team from then until now, I should say. But we're ready for this one, and it's going to be a great game for sure.
Seemed like you guys really got your swagger against Tennessee. What did you guys learn about yourselves that you can carry out the rest of this playoff?
Just like you said, playing with that swagger offensively and defensively just shows against Tennessee that we have it, and we just got to continue playing with that swagger from here on out.
It's not supposed to be this easy, this soon for you. You had so much hype. So few guys live up to the hype and exceed it. How have you been able to do that as such a young freshman?
I can't really say how. I mean, it's just all God, I should say. Just putting me in this position that I am right now as a young freshman, just coming in and just starting that receiver at Ohio State is something big, I should say, and I'm just thankful to be in this position that I am right now. Just my coaches and my teammates just helped me a lot to get where I'm at right now, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Final thought here: confidence level going into this. How are we feeling going into the Ducks?
I feel pretty confident. Ready to just get to work on Wednesday and just get the win.
All right, thanks so much, Dave. Coming up, it's duck hunting season. Yup, you saw that. The Bucks are ready to bag 'em and tag 'em today in Pasadena. How the Silver Bullets are retooling their arsenal ahead of this highly anticipated rematch. That's all coming up on The Football Fever.
Knowles, last time you played these guys, it was more of a high-scoring affair. How do you feel like you have improved as a defense since that first game?
I think our confidence has continued to grow. We've done well in the area of preventing explosive plays and getting lined up faster and executing at a high level, all things that we needed to do better coming off that game.
very veteran group. Normally this time of year that shows up. Have you seen this older defense kind of take control from a leadership standpoint going into a big game like this?
Absolutely. I mean, we have guys who have been there before. They handle the ups and downs. They handle the in-game adjustments and changes in the game plan week to week, and they don't flinch. You know, if something doesn't go our way, at least initially, they don't flinch.
I know you'd love to win games 10-7 being a defensive coordinator, but I know it doesn't matter this time of year. How do you judge a defense in a game like this? Is it score? Is it yards? Is it a big takeaway? What does it come down to in a game like this against Oregon?
It just comes down to winning. I mean, it's really simple. You know, nobody knows how these games go. You know, they go a lot of different ways. You have to be able to roll with the game and do whatever it takes to win. That's the bottom line.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Welcome back to the Football Fever. You're looking at sunny Los Angeles, where Ohio State's stars like to put on a show in the Rose Bowl. You're actually looking at the Rose Bowl Stadium, and they look to enact some sweet, sweet revenge in just under an hour. And the Ducks, they better look out. Shout out to our producer Spence for the creativity
Good job,
there.
Spence.
That was nice.
Nice,
Look, there's plenty of outdoor activities to enjoy in Southern California, including duck hunting. And today, Ohio State is looking to kick off the new year with a win in this rematch with Oregon. And with duck hunting does come some trench warfare, believe it or not. So Ohio State's coaches were pleased with the rotation at guard, and Dave mentioned it. The plan was to stick with that earlier this week, but looking at about how practice was going to shake up, but still, they were looking to do that against a deep defensive line that Oregon has, including talented edge rusher Jordan Burch being back in the mix from injury. So, Jay, are you confident in Ohio State's offensive line to handle the Ducks' defensive front today?
Yeah, that is a great question. Now, if you'd have asked me this question post-Michigan game, I would have said, ooh, I don't know.
Right.
But after seeing the game plan against Tennessee and seeing the shuffling of the deck in the interior offensive line and watching the edge guys hold up against the Tennessee edge guys, which they had a really good one, I was very, very inspired and impressed. Here's the thing. Jordan Burch is an absolute freak of nature. One of my buddies, Josh Perry, said, Jay, I've never seen a guy that looks like this. Now, mind you, Jordan Burch is 6'6", 290 pounds. So he's like me plus another 25 pounds, Opie. That's a lot of man. And so when you're dealing with a creature like this, you really want to get aggressive with a guy like this, okay? When I say aggressive, I mean your play calling. You want to go east and west early on, get him tired. Don't give him time to set up his rush. Don't give him time to plan his moves. All of these passes need to be coming out quick and in tempo. What Ohio State did so well against Tennessee was they forced the tempo. They played at a breakneck pace, and Tennessee's defensive line could not keep up.
Right.
So if they can do that against Oregon, I think they give themselves a huge advantage in the trenches to not have to fight them.
Well, we're going to put a pin in this for a second. We're going to send it out to our Dave Holmes, who's actually joined by somebody who's been tracking the Ducks all season long. Hey, Dave.
Hey there, I'm joined by Aaron Slindy, who covers the Oregon Ducks for our sister station, K-Val in Eugene, Oregon. So we were both there that night in October. You were probably happier than the rest of us. So when I look at Ohio State, I think they've gotten better defensively since then. If you look at Oregon, how have they gotten better or worse since this first time these teams met?
Yeah, I definitely think their defense was more consistent during that game and throughout the entire season up until that Big Ten championship game. So I definitely feel like the defense is a little bit hungry in this game, but I do think the offense has been flowing, especially after those first 2 games of the season that were really rough for the Oregon offense. So I think right now, I think the biggest growth for them has just been the rest and recovery they were able to have with that first round bye.
You know, it's very difficult to be the only undefeated team in the field. Bullseye on you all season long. Oregon's handled it, and they've handled it well. How have they been able to do that? Do you think they can keep doing that throughout these playoffs?
Yeah, going back to those first 2 games, before the season, everyone knew that Ohio State and Oregon would be in the postseason. But after those first 2 games, a lot of people counted the Ducks out, and they were able to knock that noise out and not pay attention to it all season, which I think has helped them to remain focused on the main goal, which was to be undefeated. But now it all comes down to this. What's that undefeated record for if you're not going to go all the way, right?
All right, final vibe checks from the Ducks side. How confident are they? Are they loose? How do you think they feel going into this rematch?
Yeah, I definitely think they have a lot of pressure just because of the opponent. They know how tough Ohio State was the first time around, and that game was in Autzen Stadium. Now it's looking pretty much like almost 50-50 between fans here. So I think they're going to have to come out fast, use any momentum that they can have, and I think it's what's going to come down to the final throw.
Aaron, thank you so much for your time. Aaron does a great job covering the Ducks. When we come back here on The Football Fever, we're going to sit down with some of the players on the Ohio State football team and have a little fun. They did get to have at least a little fun here during Rose Bowl week. That's coming up next on The Football Fever.
Thank you so much, Dave and Aaron there. It was getting busy there in the stadium. But we're going to continue our duck hunting segment. And then, as Dave just teased ahead, we have a really fun feature to show you guys. But first, Opie, back to our duck hunting. Ohio State, they're slightly favored in this rematch against the only undefeated team in college football, the top-ranked and top-seeded team in this playoff. But do you believe that Oregon is the best team in college football?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they are. And I think to say that they're not could take a little bit of the thunder of Ohio State possibly beating them on today, right? With that being said, I think they have the right record. They're undefeated. They have the players and the stats, right?
Yeah.
And they've beaten a giant within Ohio State. I know Kurt Herbstreit had spoke a little bit about just strictly going off of records, right? 12-0. But when you have a verifiable win and beating Ohio State like they did, hey, they're legitimately the best team in the country. And what scares me more about the team is the coach, Dan Lanning. He has this little edge that reminds me of a young Urban Meyer.
I was going to say Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
I can
a
see
little
that.
bit. He's the type of guy, I'm not saying that he's a dirty player, but he will do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah,
and if you are in a fight and you're out in the playground and you're fighting, he might pick up some dirt and throw it in your eyes, right?
This is a good leading team, Ben.
It may possibly be that, but he is the type of guy that you want on your team. He's the one that you want on your team. And you always got to have a little edge.
That's
to
strategy,
that,
right?
You got to have a little edge. You got to have a little strategy. That 12-man thing, right? Who knew that? You know, is he wrong for doing that? No, that
was
is
smart,
schematic,
to be honest
right?
with you.
And so those are the things. I know sometimes Ryan Day gets kind of labeled as the nice guy, and Dan will put it all out. And if Ryan Day puts it all out, I think he'll come out victorious.
See, you bring up a great point. First, really quick, are you surprised that Ohio State's favored in this one?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I think Ohio State, because it's hard to beat the team twice, but Ohio State was not Ohio State October 12th when they played Oregon. They're a neat new team, and as Jay spoke about, their identity, they're okay with not only do they have their identity, they're comfortable in their own skin, and I think that's going to show today.
Well, earlier when you mentioned that Dan Lanning will do whatever it takes to win a game, speaking of that, he took some heat for his strategic game management in their last meeting, exploiting the 12-man penalty late in the game to take precious seconds off the clock for Ohio State, a rule that has since been changed by the NCAA. Lanning said they plan for situations like that in a close game. Ben, if it is a tight contest, could we see a chess match between Dan Lanning and Day today?
I mean, kudos to Dan Lanning, right? He knew the rule that football can be a chess match. Sometimes it's mano-a-mano. There's different ways to win a football game. Personally, guys, I did not like that call. I think that's a ticky-tack way to win a football game.
Not
Call it what it is. But, You know what? The reason I probably didn't like it is because it happened to our team.
Correct.
Ohio State,
So
right?
if Ryan Day was, going to utilize that, good on him. So listen, I think this game, I'd be surprised if it came down to a call like this. This is going to be skill on skill, mano y mano.
Yes.
Who can run the football? Who can get the ball to athletes in space? At the end of the day, this is a great game that everybody wants to watch, right? It's Ryan Day, it's Dan Lanning, it's two of the best young guys in college football. They're really kind of the next heir apparents to the greats of the game. So I'm excited to watch tonight. I would be surprised, though, if it came down to a call like that. The Buckeyes don't want to leave it. Coach Day says leave no doubt, right? Leave no doubt in this one.
Day versus Dirty Dan.
Dirty Dan. On the play, is that what we're going with?
Throw some dirt.
Here we are.
Good.
I like it. I like it. We have a lot more fun stuff to get to here on The Football Fever, but for now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Football Fever, live from Pasadena, California. We are now outside the Rose Bowl. Broadcast restrictions say we have to be outside for now. But we had a great chance to sit down and talk to all the Ohio State football players. Welcome back to The Football Fever, live from Pasadena, California, just outside the Rose Bowl. Broadcast restrictions say we must be outside the stadium now, so we're out here with a sea of fans behind us waiting to get in to watch the Ohio State Buckeyes take on the Oregon Ducks. Bucks, Ducks, round two. There is so much pressure on this game, but at Media Day a couple days ago, the Ohio State players got to have at least a little bit of fun as they were waiting to do their interviews. They had board games and card games set up, so I decided to sit down and have a little fun with the Bucks. This is purely for fun, Blackjack. Playing poker with Jenga blocks?
Yes.
Serious question, though. How do you guys determine who gets stuck with the blue chips? All right, guys, you're tired of doing interviews. Can I do a card trick instead?
Sure.
Pick a card. All right, show it to Sonny. Show it to Sonny.
$100 right there.
$100.
$100.
All right, I don't have that NIL deal, man. All right, let's go. Was that your card? You sure about that? Is that it? Was that it? Was that it? Was that it? All right, make a scissors with your hands. Hold it pretty tight, not too tight. Was that your card?
Is that it?
Oh, he raises him an extra Jenga block. All right, I'm going to do one card trick for Carnell Tate. Ready? All right, here's what we're going to do. And I'll cut that deck close to halfway. All right, so we have 4 piles here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Take that card, show it to the camera. Don't let me see it. Put it back in the deck wherever you want it. All right, I want you, mix them up as however you want. Shuffle them. There's no way I can know what this card is. No possible way I can know what card Carnell Tate just showed, Emeka Ibuka. All right, did you feel that? Carnell, you walked in here with a backpack, right? Go ahead and pick that backpack up. Now, is there a card by that Gatorade bottle that slipped in?
No. No way, God. I tried to tell him to stay, bro. You don't listen.
A little looser, slightly looser. Is that your card? Put it back on any pile. Put it back on any pile you want. Any pile you want. All right. You can mix them together. There is no way. Yep, mix them up as much as you want. There's no way I can know where this card is, right? No possible way. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt that.
I want you to check in your hood right now.
No way. Oh my God. That's wild. I was like, what did you just throw cards at me for?
Now, I want to be perfectly clear. The Buckeyes were not playing board games and card games instead of watching film. Both Oregon and Ohio State had 1 hour to meet with the media. While they were waiting, they got to play games there. So they weren't skipping out on the business. They were just having fun, just like Oregon did too. Well, coming up next here on The Football Fever, we're going to take a look at the Ohio State defense. Last time these teams played, the Bucs gave up 32 points in Autzen Stadium. But Jim Knowles' defense is different and a whole lot better. We're going to talk about that next when the Fever rolls on.
Buckeye fans are starting to make their way out west. We caught up with a few of them who are starting their journey to the granddaddy of them all. Scarlet and gray sprinkled throughout the John Glenn International Airport.
Just OH.
Ayo, go Bucks.
Heading into the terminal with excitement to get up in the air and soon touch down in LA. Non-stop Columbus to LA is around a 5-hour flight. 25 miles north of LAX is Pasadena, and these fans are eager to get there.
We'll get in late this evening. A little bit of sightseeing tomorrow, see his son and his girlfriend, and then game day Wednesday.
I'm looking forward, one, to the good weather, seeing family. My brother and sister-in-law live out there, and the opportunity to see the Buckeyes go against Oregon the second time. So I'm looking forward to a good game with a big victory that the Bucs bring home.
For Kim Pfeiffer and Jim Harding, it'll be their first trip to the iconic Rose Bowl venue.
Bucket list check.
Football is on the top of most fans' minds, but the historic Rose Bowl parade is what some are looking forward to just as much.
I can't wait to see the parade. I'm excited about the game, but I'm excited about the parade too.
Once the parade ends, nerves will start as Ohio State fans hope the Bucs will trump the Ducks.
I'm a little nervous, but hopefully they play the way they did against Tennessee and not Michigan.
What are you guys most looking forward to, when it comes to the game itself?
Them winning.
That's right. I'm looking for a different outcome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Bucs getting it done.
We want to hear from you about what your prediction is. This poll is currently open on our website for you to weigh in. These two agreed with more than 60% of people who voted.
I say Buckeyes close.
Yeah, Buckeyes close.
Field goal maybe.
on your side at John Glenn International Airport. Nick Veland, ABC6 News.
That and make sure we execute.
All right, gentlemen, time now for our Atlas Butler defensive checkup. The last time the Bucks played the Ducks, Ohio State gave up 8 plays of at least 25 yards. But the defense has evolved since that October 12th meeting. Jay, I'm going to start with you. Jim Knowles did some, quote, re-engineering to the defense. He didn't make changes to the personnel, but he did tweak their attack. He was blitzing a lot more since then. What changes, though, have you specifically noticed that have been working for the Buckeyes defense?
Yeah, so specifically coverage disguising, which I think is so critical up front. Listen, Dylan Gabriel's an experienced quarterback. The dude's been in college for like half a decade. So if he knows what you're in, he's going to pick you apart. He can move around with his legs. He's got a very accurate arm, and he can make things happen with Tez Johnson. But if he's not sure what you're in, and that's for your safeties, if you can hold your disguise, if you can come up and make it look like a cover 2 shell at the last second, you'll see, maybe Latham come into the box or Caleb come into the box, and you'll see Latham kind of back up. And now you're making Dylan Gabriel think. What does that do? That helps them to struggle to set their protection, which slows down the quarterback's eyes, which allows the rush to get home. So the one thing we've really seen is great disguises. Yes, I think there's an increased frequency of blitzes, but it's not like we're sending the house. It's not these cover 0 blitzes, which leaves Denzel Burke on an island, and he was getting absolutely tortured in that first game. No. Now you've got some zone pressures here and there, and you've got situations where you got Cody Simon maybe on a delayed blitz or like a quarterback spy type of situation. These things are how you stop a quarterback that's not necessarily looking to run downfield with his legs, but he is looking to make things happen. But most importantly, out of Jim Knowles, it's the aggression for 4 quarters and not kind of pulling guys back, letting them run, letting them do what they do best. That's what's changed for this Buckeye defense.
Use JT as the quarterback's spy at times.
Which, by the way, I don't love.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that.
I want JT pressuring, get one of them linebackers
Pin your
to spy.
ears back and get back there. But disguising coverages will be important today against Heisman finalist quarterback Dylan Gabriel. He's an elusive southpaw. The lefty has the ability to escape pressure and then expand those plays out of the pocket. Obi, how can the linebacker specifically help with containing Dylan Gabriel today?
I think that's a good question, but I want to be careful that we don't silo the linebackers, the defensive backs, the front line. I think it's the
collectively
effort. Let me talk to you all over. Okay. Defense, this Buckeye defense, only given up 17 points one time this entire season, and that was against Oregon when they gave 32 points up. Ohio State is the #1 defense in points per game in the Big Ten. giving up 10.9 points per game. Number one, that's probably number one or number two in the country. OSU defense is number one in the Big Ten in yards given up per game. Number one in the Big Ten in passing yards given up per game, only giving up 144 passing yards. Number two in the Big Ten in sacks. So what is the defense doing differently against Oregon? What did they do differently October 12th? October 12th against Oregon, when the quarterback dropped in the passing game, they blitzed 36% of the time. 36% of the time. Ohio State normally blitzed 50% of the time or more. So I disagree just a little bit with you, Jay, when it comes to that blitz. It makes a difference. It left Denzel Burke on the island a lot more than what he would have. Why did they digress to a 36% blitzing ratio versus a 50% or more, which they typically do?
And they didn't get to Dylan Gabriel in that game either.
No, they didn't have one sack. So it was very out of character for a Jim Knowles defense not to ramp that up a little bit. So there's something that they saw that made them feel a little uncomfortable, possibly about blitzing. But I do believe that all cylinders are running. I believe that they are going to blitz at more. That 50% or more. I think that's going to make the difference because they are going to pin their ears back and get after it. And get after it. I feel you ready to say something.
Here we go.
Here's what I want to quickly say. When you have an experienced quarterback and you blitz an experienced quarterback and you don't disguise like we talked about, which is the biggest difference, which they weren't doing well, what do? You give him his hot read right away. And so experienced quarterbacks, when you blitz them, they want the blitz. They go, oh, perfect. I know where the blitz is coming from. There's my hot read.
I'm going to go make a different play.
And all of a sudden they're rolling. So you have to be careful. So I think that's what Jim Knowles is nervous about because he's such an experienced quarterback.
And he is an experienced quarterback, but we were dropping 7. We weren't putting that 2.7 seconds to let go of that ball. It was like he was playing 7-on-7. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we couldn't get a true four-man rush. And that was the problem. So that was back to my original point was, hey, you four guys up front, you've been here 4 years now. You guys got these draft stocks. Everyone thinks you guys are the best two ends in the country. You got to be able to get a four-man pressure without blitzing every now and again as a changeup. That's a fact.
Jim Knowles has to call the blitz today. He has to.
And I think that he will. He's done that a lot more. Again, we could talk all day about nitpicking these defense with these two guys. But look, the defense has evolved into the top-ranked defense in the country statistically since then. And the Buckeyes secondary, they've not given up a touchdown pass since that loss in Eugene en route to becoming the top-ranked defense in the country. So our Dave Holmes, he caught up with the mastermind behind the Silver Bullets to shut down the schemes. We're talking Jim Knowles.
Here with defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. Last time you played these guys, it was more of a high-scoring affair. How do you feel like you have improved as a defense since that first game?
I think our confidence has continued to grow. We've done well in the area of preventing explosive plays and getting lined up faster and executing at a high level, all things that we needed to do better coming off that game.
Very veteran group. Normally this time of year that shows up. Have you seen this older defense kind of take control from a leadership standpoint going into a big game like this?
Absolutely. I mean, we have guys who have been there before. They handle the ups and downs. They handle the in-game adjustments and changes in the game plan week to week, and they don't flinch. You know, if something doesn't go our way, at least initially, they don't flinch.
I know you'd love to win games 10-7 being a defensive coordinator, but I know it doesn't matter this time of year. How do you judge a defense in a game like this? Is it score? Is it yards? Is it a big takeaway? What does it come down to in a game like this against Oregon?
It just comes down to winning. I mean, it's really simple. You know, nobody knows how these games go. You know, they go a lot of different ways.
Jeremiah Smith. 3rd and 20. Howard, a lot of time coming off. Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon. They storm the field at Autzen, and the Ducks win this bout.
I said, the moment we were walking off that field, we're going to see these guys again, whether it was, in the Big Ten or here. And here we are, man. We knew we were going to get another crack at these guys.
The Buckeyes envisioned a rematch in the Big Ten championship at that time, but instead they earned a second chance at the Ducks in the playoffs. And Ohio State is looking to make the most of this rare opportunity. In fact, the Buckeyes have played the same team multiple times in a season, just 7 times in program history. It's only happened twice in the modern era, dating back to 1951. First, in 1975, the Archie Griffin-led Buckeyes dominated UCLA in the regular season, beating the Bruins 41-20. But when the two met for a second time, coincidentally, in that season's Rose Bowl, UCLA walked out 23-10 winners. The second time this happened was a little more recently in the 2019 season. Ohio State played Wisconsin twice. The Bucks defeated the Badgers 38-7 in the regular season, and then again 6 weeks later in the Big Ten championship, 34-21, the final in that one. But beating the same team twice in the same season isn't easy. Just ask Dan Lanning. Oregon played Washington twice last year, once in the regular season and again in the Pac-12 championship, and the Ducks lost both meetings by a mere 3 points. Today will mark the third meeting with Oregon in the Rose Bowl, with Ohio State beating the Ducks twice in Pasadena. Let's hope history repeats itself this afternoon. But when we come back, pride versus precious hardware. We weigh which win matters most to Buckeye Nation, who some still maybe can't get over that loss to the team up north. That's next on The Football Fever. Weaver, and the Buckeyes looking for some rosy redemption today against the Ducks. But speaking of roses, do fans have some rose-colored glasses on for the Buckeyes, or are they still holding on to some resentment from the loss to the team up north? More fans are on board and should be after Ohio State's dominant performance over the Vols, but my comment section in Facebook says otherwise. So, guys, let me ask you this, and it's the hard truth, right? Ramos Roofing hard truth. What matters more to Buckeye Nation, a national championship or beating the Wolverines? Jay?
I hate this question because, man, you know what it is in Ohio. You got to beat that team up north. Everybody knows that. However,
and ideally you want both.
You want both. College football has changed. With the 12-team playoff, it makes rivalry games, I'm not going to say obsolete because bragging rights are never obsolete, but it certainly waters down those kind of rivalry games. So I'll say, if you can win a championship without beating the team up north, you go win the championship. And the fans better be happy about it when we do it.
And it's the same scenario 2 years ago, too, guys. They had that chance after losing the team up north.
No doubt.
I mean, come on, it's a national championship.
Well, and the thing is that you also, when you look at that, fans want a little more control where, hey, a coach could lose their job if they're not beating Michigan. That has been the precedence typically here at Ohio State. It's not the case anymore. You can lose to Michigan and you can actually go win the national championship and you're going to, and you might even get a statue out front. You win enough national championships. So, yes, you know what? I understand the tradition of Michigan and still want to beat Michigan because we still hate that team, but it's different.
It's different, Ben. I mean, everybody's got to rally around the team, right?
They
at
do.
this point.
Well, I mean, listen, a national championship is a national championship, full pause, right? You want to beat Team Up North. You want those gold pants. I don't want to water down the game, right? Even though we are in the modern era, it is what it is and where it is right now. But at the end of the day, you're measured. It's a three-pronged test, right? Do you beat Michigan? Do you win Big Ten championships? And do you win national championships? See where it falls this year.
But now with the expanded playoff, you can not do the first two and still go achieve the third one.
Exactly.
So rally around the troops. And guys, I mean, looking at today's matchup and just the brackets in the college football playoff, this looks like the national championship game, right? You can argue that it looks like that, right?
It feels like Alabama, Ohio State.
2014.
2014.
Yeah,
Sugar
it also feels like in Georgia, Ohio State a couple years ago, too, as well. And so I feel like we were talking off camera, too, that we're confident if they beat Oregon today, they can beat anybody. It's all the way.
I got a quick question for Ben, though. Okay. It didn't matter against Tennessee because it was such a blowout. But if this thing comes down to a clutch kick by Jaden Fielding after he struggled against UM, does he knock the kick down?
He rises to the occasion. I'm going to say that he knocks it through a 35-yarder right down the middle. Man, wouldn't that be an awesome ending for Jaden Fielding? Hope it doesn't turn down to 3 points, but I have confidence in my guy. He'll get it done, right? When the lights shine bright,
we might need him.
You need to shine bright.
Quick thoughts, too, for this one. I think that Ohio State, they have to get off to a fast start like they did against Tennessee. Just punch them in the mouth early and run away with it.
Obi, give them your dramatic prediction.
If they don't win by 2 or 3 touchdowns, they did not arrive in their full identity. That's my
Obi thinks Ohio State's going to blow Oregon out by 3 touchdowns. He said it to us.
You heard it here from some deep football people.
I kind of like it.
I like it. Let's rock with it. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we are leading you right up into kickoff. Hopefully, the Buckeyes will bring in the new year with a win.
Go Bucks!
Go Bucks!